Hey folks, hope you're doing good today, having a good weekend and all that jazz. Now I thought I'd give you something for the weekend to listen to today, a brand new track that just released yesterday, and these guys made a priority submission to get it on the channel as well, which is very, very cool. We've had them on once before and really enjoyed their track. Modern as hell, it was called under the modern metal day it was. Really cool riffs and everything else. I'm just looking on their page as well today, and they're calling themselves rock and roll core, which is something I've never heard before, anyone say that before. And I don't know what to think about that. Rock and roll mixed with hardcore. We'll have to see what really that they mean by that when we get to know this band a bit more. But what we have been doing as well is looking at these Instagram pages and stuff and just seeing how these guys have been going on in the last few months and year or so, and these guys have been doing very nicely as well, playing a bunch of gigs, playing with Attila, which is a nice thing as well, and Jinx and Slit and Never Cease, which are bands we haven't heard of before, so maybe they're bands we'll have to check out as well. And then they've got some other festivals here that they've been playing, Metal Fest at the New Year's, which look pretty cool as well. And then they had another gig here with a bunch of cool bands which we need to check out. So if those bands happen to be watching the channel as well, and say, oh, it'd be cool to get our band on there, we'd be definitely happy to check them out. Oh Sleeper, War of Ages, we haven't heard of any of those bands. So we'll check them out if they come through. Today we've got a brand new track, as I say. This one's called Tocsin. It's got a cool official vid to it as well. So let's see what rock and roll core is all about. Cool.
Stop trying to play pretend. It doesn't feel like it should. Resentment don't make amends. A second guess at it all. You better question yourself. Am I really in the wrong? You've been making it up. I see that it's a run. Won't let you put me to shame. I know that we'll burn that bridge when we get to it. Running out of gun, don't fall all over me. I know that we'll burn that bridge when we get to it.
Good sound. Nice and thick, nice and wide, nice and loud, spacious.
Spread the venom, divide the room, suspend the moment of peace, and then it's gone from you. No more silent hatred, no more believing what's next. I felt so hard to lose this whole now. Erase my
Great solo. Yeah. These guys have got a nice, wide, spacious sound. Those synthy sounds in the mix as well. Just widen it out, give it atmosphere. It's nice and big. There you go. These guys are great. Now, I'm not sure I got much rock and roll in there in this one, which is what I was keeping an ear out for. But what I would say these guys are, in my opinion, is just very, very nice modern metal. Because they're ticking all the boxes that modern metal does nowadays. A nice loud pumped up mix, punchy drums, great cymbal sound. Love to see him in slow motion whacking the cymbals as well, and all the vibration in the cymbals. Very, very dope. The only thing they missed out doing on that is where you see the bass strings flapping away in slow motion. I love to see that as well. But great video to go with it. It's just, they've got all the elements of a nice modern mix. Punchy, loud, wide. They've brought in the extra layers with synths and things like that. Vocal layering as well. Effects. There was that trappy section and ticky drums and stuff in there, breaking it down into atmospheric synthy sounds. And all those things, to me, make a very, very nice, modern metal. It's metalcore-y, but I wouldn't necessarily call this just straight up metalcore, because there was other elements in there that you wouldn't necessarily see in metalcore, like those, ticky drums and the trappy sections and the more hip-hoppy vibe, I guess you'd say, brings into it as well, which you don't normally see in metalcore. So these are kind of modern metal is how I would describe it. Very, very nice music, sounding great, high quality video to go with it as well. Particularly like the solo as well in this one, just reminding myself, that was a great solo. It sounded amazing, had a really great tone, but it was just the solo was quite rocky. I guess that's maybe where they're saying they're bringing in the rock and roll, because it did have a kind of bluesy, rocky feel to it. But man, it just went so great with the music. Really sounded nice, and I wasn't actually expecting a solo in this kind of music. So to get one was very, very nice as well. They did a great job of it. So keep pumping out those super nice solos, because it really added to the track, in my opinion. And you don't actually see it necessarily solos as often as you used to anymore. And when they can do a really nice one like that, yes, every time it's super nice. So these guys killed it with that. It's a brand new track. It's a pretty new band. We've only checked them out once before, but I want to be checking this band out more so in the new year now, because these are one of those modern bands that I've been talking about in the last couple of weeks, where we've had modern metalcore bands on who are bringing in extra elements to their sound rather than just guitar, bass, drums and vocals. There's extra synthy sounds in there. There's breaking into more trappy sections and breaking it down into atmospheric synthy stuff in there, bringing in that nice solo as well, are all things that you wouldn't necessarily expect to hear in a run-of-the-mill modern metalcore, modern metal band. So those are the kind of things that I'm talking about that I think this band have nailed, just to make you, I'll remember that solo, and next time they're on the show, I'll be hoping and expecting to hear a nice solo like that again. And that's not always the case when metalcore bands or modern metal bands come through, because they don't always do that. So it's things like that, which is stuff that I'm talking about, where these modern bands can just catch your ear because they're doing something nice, something spicy within the music that isn't always there within the other bands. And the bands that come through that haven't got a nice solo like that, or haven't got breakdown into more modern trappy and things like that sections in them, are the bands that won't necessarily catch your ear as much as these bands that have got all that stuff in it. That's what I was talking about. That's what I'm getting at. And these guys have illustrated it nicely for us today. So there you go. That's something for the weekend for you. I'm going to take a day off tomorrow and be back on Monday for the Monday grind. Last week's Monday's grind video got over 300 views, which I'm really, really happy about. So we're doing nicely with that stuff. And we've got a full week of submissions already as well to go through. So we've got a bunch of bands already lined up in the queue, waiting to go. Very, very nice. I'm having a good year myself as well. So hope you're having a good weekend and a good year so far yourself. And we'll see you on Monday for the Monday grind. Have a good one, guys. See ya. Bye.